2024. And this afternoon or this evening, we're going to be talking about our community, a few things that we have going on in our community. We have a little tech talk at the end, which I'll pop up the command line so that I can show you all a repository that we have available to you all to learn some skills. And definitely want to say thank you, everybody, for showing up on time this evening, March 16th. So my name is Bobby Dorless, and I am the CEO founder of the Tech Hustle. But more importantly, I'm an engineer. I've been in the field of engineering for a few years now, wrapping up a really cool, lengthy career working at a social media company called Twitter, aka X now. I don't even really call it X. But my time there has been one of those that has been very memorable and always excited to talk more about it. I'm not going to belabor you all on that topic here, but definitely want to encourage you all, if you do have some questions about my time there, to hit me up on our school platform, which I'll make sure that I bring up very shortly. So the Tech Hustle, who are we and what are we about? The Tech Hustle is on a mission to transform the landscape of technology through community empowerment and education. We really are here to support those that are underrepresented in tech, or those that are just, getting started in their career in tech, and leveling you up, or more specifically, upscaling you on skills that you may already be pursuing, or skills that we would highly recommend you developing as you're pursuing either, let's say, a software engineering background, a cybersecurity, a systems engineering, a data engineer, or overall just an engineer skill set. There's definitely some things that we're working on here in the community, and definitely want to encourage you. We provide resources, which we'll go over, one of our resources being our community on school. But we also do have a premium service where we do some mentorship, and definitely give you more one-on-one access to myself and the rest of the team. Now, the rest of the team, myself, Bobby D, as I mentioned, founder and CEO. We have D Hustle, which is our COO of the Tech Hustle. Looks like he's on the line. What's up, D Hustle? And then we also have Raymond, don't call him Ray Ray, which is one of our resident technical fellows here at the Tech Hustle. All three of us are active members on our podcast. I'm going to put a plug in here real quick. If you check us out on YouTube, the Tech Hustle, you'll definitely get access to some of our most recent episodes of our podcast, which is definitely focusing on technology, engineering, and the intersection of our culture. And we have a few really great episodes that are out there, especially for season number 3. We definitely have one that's going to be published in the next day or two. And then we have a special segment called Backstage with Bobby D. What's up, D Hustle? You want to say something real quick?
Yeah, man. Can I say hello first before you continue? You're killing me
I
here,
be
Petey.
getting on a roll.
Holy man. I'm trying to
My
say
bad.
hello. You're already talking. Well,
That's why I
hello,
hear.
everybody. Just want to give everybody love, and I'm on the line. Okay, go ahead, continue, bro.
I feel you, man. My bad. Go ahead and do your introduction, man. I'll give you some space. What's up? Go ahead.
My name is Dara Martinez. I'm the COO of the Tech Hustle, also SAP. Uh, ooh, wow. Also a SAP business analyst there, and also with some Scrum Master. If you have any comments or questions or concerns, don't hesitate to DM me, and we can go ahead and have a discussion on how we can better ourselves.
For sure. Thank you so much, D Hustle. And I appreciate you tapping that mic so I can give you some space, kid. But yeah, so back to our podcast. Obviously, you can see that we have a little different type of, flow over here. We're really, straight up, and definitely for the culture. And definitely you'll feel the vibe when you start to watch our podcast around the things that are interesting to us, but definitely how our three dynamics all come together. It looks like Raymond's not making it today, but big shout outs to Raymond. Don't call him Ray Ray. He has a segment on our podcast about Raymond Nuggets. If you're looking to level up on techie stuff, cool websites that are out there. If you're interested in movie premieres or movie reviews, he's definitely holding that spot down. So definitely big ups to Raymond. And we'll catch him in our next community meeting. But back to our slide here. The next thing that I wanted to talk to you all about is our community. As I mentioned to you, our vibe is really laid back. We're technologists, all of us. We've all been at the keyboard or worked in the tech industry for more than 20 plus years, 10 years. I think combined us all three together, we're probably like close to 50 years of experience. And definitely want to let you know that we have been around the block a few times and have definitely dealt with a few issues, challenges, being underrepresented, but also working at a very high scale. As D Hustle mentioned, he's background in SAP basis with Scrum Master skill set. Raymond is a QA analyst, also an application administrator, and then myself having backgrounds in systems engineering and software engineering at a very hyper scale. The image here about our community is we're really trying to set the stage for what we're going out there to do. We do or we are actively on a nationwide tour. Big shout outs to everybody that pulled up on us in Atlanta, down in Miami. And it sounds like the next spot we have coming up is going to be out in San Francisco at the end of June. And definitely, if you are a part of our community and you catch this on YouTube a little bit later, and definitely want to encourage you to hit us up and let us know where you're at. Maybe we might pull up to your city sooner than later. But if you're definitely out in San Francisco at the end of June, we want to come and see you so we can host some meetings like this. Now, in person is obviously what we really want to engage and get involved in. But we know that online communities is where we're going to really have a foundation. And we actually host our online community on a platform called School. So if you go to thetechhustle.com, which is our main website, and from the techhustle.com, you'll see a button there that says join community. If the page loads, there it goes. Right here at the bottom right here, you'll see join community. If you click on that, it's going to redirect you to our School platform, which is where we host all of our online content, and definitely having more engagement with myself, D Hustle, and the whole crew, being that we hang out here posting updates. We have a weekly post. You'll see Raymond talking about AI, if it's going to take your job, and more or less giving you some insights about that. I'm not trying to do any posts here. Come on, School. All right. And then we have our daily insights, and definitely shout outs for my guy D Hustle. It looks like we have a new member that's joined our community. So big ups to you all for maintaining this engaging platform. And like I said, we are looking to be more in person in the future, but definitely want to let you know that we have an online community where we are at every day of the week, and definitely want to encourage you to follow along. Like I said, our School community is our main platform for that. Also including our School community, before I even go on to our next resource that we have, is we have online courses where you can definitely level up on some skill sets. We're going to cover one of these topics later in our tech talk this afternoon. But if you're looking for a technical interviewing handbook, if you're getting into tech and you don't really know where to start, our IT fundamental course will definitely give you some insights around that. And then we have some courses around Linux, cloud computing, and Python if you're really trying to sharpen your skills as a developer. We do have a calendar section here. Right now, we only have our community meeting, which is 6 p.m. Eastern time. And thank you all for being here during this time. But definitely follow along, because we have some new community engagement ideas that we're working on internally that will increase the amount of meetings we have throughout the week. One, I'll just throw it out there. We're thinking about doing a code pairing session. So if you want to code together or work on a project together, we're most likely going to have at least an hour out of the week that we're going to hang out and do some coding together. If you want to just hang out and have a general conversation, I know that's one feedback that we receive from our community members is like, hey, can we have a meeting that's really unstructured, that we could just come and just talk some ish, about tech or things that we got going on in our life. But overall, I want to encourage you to follow along on this calendar because they will be publishing. We will be publishing them here. We do have members that has some information around our members, but more specifically around our leaderboard. Our leaderboard is really just gamifying this idea of being a community member. If you're an active community member, I'm talking about liking posts, making posts, following along the community, you'll definitely level up. And if you're interested in learning how to level up, there's this little button right here that has a question mark. If you click on it, it gives you some more details on how to level up. So we definitely want to encourage everybody to take a look at this leaderboard. And big shout outs to everybody that's been holding it down since day one. Our community has been growing, and definitely want to encourage you all to get involved. And then our About page. So it looks like we're roughly about 160 individuals in our group. And definitely, if you have anybody that's interested in tech, you feel like this is the vibe for them, especially if they're developing, learning, looking for a safe space, and definitely looking for people like myself, D Hustle, and Raymond to support them. Tell them to pull up, and you can share them this link here, and that's on our main website. And you'll notice it right here called Join Community. The last plug that I want to put in about our community is that we have a premium community membership. I scrolled down a little bit. If you're interested in joining our premium community, it's going to actually dive a little bit more deeper into number one, having access to us for, Discord conversation, exclusive content, one-on-one meeting, and other things listed here. I definitely want to encourage you all to get signed up because we are growing our community platform or our community plus services, and we do have limited space. So I want to make sure that we keep at least a space open for you. If you're interested, definitely come and holler at us because we're leveling up people on a daily basis here at the Tech Hustle. All right. Now, back to our slides here, but actually before our slides, I want to talk to you about another really cool resource that we have out there, which is our newsletter. So we publish our newsletter on a weekly basis. So if you go back to the techhustle.com's website and right over here on the right-hand side, you'll see subscribe to our newsletter. If you click on that, it's going to redirect you to our Substack page. And the reason why I always like to show this during our community meeting is this is where some of our oldest content is since the Tech Hustle was, conceived back in 2020, 2021, where we first were doing podcasting on, what was it, on Twitter Spaces, I believe. But we've been holding it down on this platform here. And we've shifted to a monthly basis of publication. So each month we'll be publishing a newsletter. And I wanted to actually give a big shout out to a new segment we have in our newsletter called the Tech Hustle Member Spotlight. So big shout outs to our first Spotlight member, Brandon. He's one of our community members that has been really active in our community. So I do want to encourage you to all to go read his blog post that we have, read some of his answers that he has around general questions we have about our community. And if you are looking to be a Spotlight member, definitely let us know. At the bottom of this post here, you'll see that there is a nomination and or a form you can fill out to be a Spotlighted member. So I definitely want to encourage you all, if you're not already subscribed to our newsletter, but secondly, read our most recent Spotlight because it might fit where you're at in your journey. Because we definitely have a few members that are either already at the keyboard working in tech, or like Brandon, developing the skills so that he can be successful in, landing his first tech job, but also some of the things that he's doing here in the community. So big shout outs to Brandon. And yeah, check out our new Spotlight segment in our newsletter. Next thing we're going to talk about is general questions. So this is usually the time that we have open for questions. If you're on the line, feel free to turn on your mic and ask a question. If you are on YouTube and you're catching this a little bit after, feel free to use the comment section below, and we will definitely follow up with you. But is there any questions on the table before we jump into our technical section of our conversation and here at the community? Any questions at all? All right. It seems like we don't have any questions, which is okay. I'm definitely looking forward to supporting everybody that's either catching this recording afterwards on YouTube, or if you're able to be here during our 6 o'clock time slot, feel free to hit us up. If you are on in Zoom and you want to ask a question, just throw it in the chat. D Hustle will be holding the chat down, so if he sees something popped up there, he'll definitely interrupt me again, which sometimes I need to be interrupted. So no worries at all, D Hustle. But definitely, if you do have any questions, I appreciate you, man. Definitely, if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out. If you're looking for a more direct question answered, DM me on the school platform. But yeah, if you're on YouTube, we're looking forward to those comments. So definitely let us know. All right. So the next part of our conversation tonight is we're going to do a little tech talk here because the Tech Hustle has a number of resources out there that I don't know if our community knows about. And if you're new to our community, you probably haven't had access to it yet. But I did want to let you know that the GitHub, or that the Tech Hustle, the Tech Hustle has a GitHub repository, a GitHub project that we post a lot of free resources out there, especially if you're leveling up in tech and you're looking for specific skills. If you caught our last meeting, we talked about learning Python, which is one of our most accessed and definitely really cool repository that basically has written up documentation, almost like an ebook on how you can learn Python from start to finish. And if you're not catching it, basically we're giving away free resources for you to get leveled up in certain skill sets. And definitely our community is here to support you as you're developing. But one of the things that I ran into as a question that came in from another community member is when I was doing some of those demos or talking about learning Linux or using Git or actually accessing this repository, is someone's asking me like, hey, do we have any resources around the command line? And that's what we're going to talk about today is the command line course, resource, ebook that we have available. But also I want to encourage you to all learn this skill set because the command line, if you're not familiar with it, is going to be your best friend for sure. If you're basically doing anything in computing from systems engineering to software engineering to cybersecurity to data engineering, if you are accessing a computer and you're doing something in the engineering lane, I guarantee you're going to encounter the command line at least once or twice. And I at least want to prepare you for the use case and or let you know that there's a resource out there available for you. So just to get started real quick, is if you go to GitHub, you go to GitHub slash the Tech Hustle. And it's because I'm actually logged into as myself here that it pops up with this view. But once you click on it, you'll see the repositories is where you want to go. And then one of the repositories that we're focusing on today is called learn_command line. Now, our repository here has a few different chapters or directories that has information about learning command line. And I'll just quickly check out the first one here called Introduction to Command Line. And you'll notice that we have a few markdown files. Now, markdown is more or less like a, how can I say, a Word document or a Microsoft Word almost programming language, but it's written in a way so that it can be displayed as such below. I'm not going to go into too much details about what's written because I want to encourage you to go check it out. But just know that we have a lot of content out there around learning the command line, and we have from introduction to wrapping up and automation, advanced scripting, scripting basics, and so on and so forth. But the main README file that I want to take a look at is the first README file and the beginning of this repository. And we're going to check it out so that you all can see the process. But you'll notice that there's a quick little welcome. In today's tech landscape, the command line is an essential tool for IT professionals across domains, where you as a developer, systems administrator, cloud engineer, mastering the command line can optimize your workflow, enabling you to achieve more in less time. And that statement right there is so true. Just a little bit of backstory about me. I did start in computing on the systems administration side of the table, learning systems engineering, and eventually becoming a very high proficient Linux administrator working at a very hyperscale. But my main reason for learning Linux was a lot of administrators during that time were focused on Microsoft. And Microsoft itself has gotten better in embracing the command line. But back in the days, especially in Windows 95, Windows 2000, and especially with Windows NT, is you usually would use your mouse to click around to do what you had to do, either going to a configuration, setting up a user account, and so on and so forth. And for me, I was like, hey, I want to go learn something that nobody really wants to do, which is access the command line. And I'm going to bring up a terminal for you right here. And this is the command line. It's basically a black screen with a prompt up at the top. And then you have access to the file system, but you need to know certain commands to be able to do certain things. One of the commands I just typed in here was ls, which is listing the contents of a directory, and pwd, which is basically telling me what directory I'm in. But these commands are the things that you have to be familiarized with so that you can maneuver the file system, access things like setting up user accounts, configuring settings files, updating configuration files. But in general, this is the tool that we're talking about in terms of the command line. Now, one exercise that we're going to do here in our demo here is actually check out this repository that we just took a look at that's out on GitHub. Let me just bring the screen back over here. So this repository itself is out on GitHub. And if I scroll up a little bit and I just go back to the main landing page, for this repository is you'll see that the README file is already being opened, but the contents in this repository is what we're going to go download with a tool called Git. Now, Git is going to be one of your best friends, especially if you're a software engineer. I highly recommend you to get familiarized with it. And one of the cool commands that you have in the command line to learn about commands is called the man command, but we're going to do man space Git because Git is the real tool that we really want to be familiarized with. Git is a fast and stable distributed revision control system, or like an SVN, something, where if you're working on a change, you can ultimately not affect the main files, but do it inside your own type of branch. And it's really something that's really cool that if you're not familiarized with it, I highly recommend you to find some more resources to learn it. And actually, I think we may have published a really nice article in our school platform about Git. So I definitely want to encourage you to take a look at there. But we're going to use the Git tool to actually go and download that same repository that we opened up in our browser locally on our local computer here. So just to walk through it, one of the cool things you have inside of the command line is that ls command, but also there's a command called make directory. So it's called make dir. And one of the directories that a lot of engineers like to create in their local repositories when they're checking out code is called workspace. So we'll use the command make dir workspace. And basically what we're saying is make a directory called workspace inside of our home directory. So if I do pwd, you'll see that my username, user, bdoorless, and then the directory that I'm in called workspace. Just to give you some heads up, this little squiggly line right here in the prompt means this right here. It just means the home directory. So if you actually are in any directory and you do a cd and the squiggly line, which is next to the 1 if you're on a Mac machine, and you got to press shift instead of the back tick, it's going to be that squiggly line, and you say cd to there, you'll notice that it puts me back in the home directory, and I just do a pwd to see where I'm at. What is pwd? Let's do a man page, pwd. PWD is return the working directory name. So it's whatever directory that I'm currently in. If you just type the command PWD, you'll see that return. And I hit Q to exit out of that. Like I said, that man command is extremely important to learn. And I actually did a man on man. Basically, what it's saying is that is the command line version of the manual page for any command that's on a machine. Most programs or most commands do have man pages. If you're building something, on your own, you might not create a man page. At least you should have help, but definitely always look for a man page for a command if you're not familiar with it. And the command is MAN, basically shorthanding manual, but you just put in man. All right, but back to our task here, because we want to go and check out that code that is out in GitHub, so we can take a look at this command line repository. So I'm going to bring back over that page that had the GitHub repository. We'll bring it back in here for you all to view it. And you'll notice inside of GitHub, there's this button over here, this big green button that says code. If you click the drop down button, you'll see that there's an option to clone the repository. Now, cloning the repository basically means copy what you have out in GitHub and store it locally on my computer. Now, how do you do that? You basically grab this URL or this URL to what the repository is. I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to move this screen out of the way so we can get back to the terminal. And with the command git, I'm just going to paste in the URL just so that we can have it on the screen, but we're going to do the command git clone. And actually, before I continue, I want to show you a little pro tip, something that I do all the time. And sometimes I do it so frequently that I forget to even explain it. So one of the cool things in Bash, which is the terminal that we're using here, is it supports this hashtag. They call it hashtag, they call it a pound. But what it says is anything that's after this pound, the computer will not read. So it basically says ignore everything that's after the pound. So technically, it's not actually executing any type of command. It's basically just saying ignore everything after it. Let's say that I actually put this command in here. The computer's going to cry and it says, hey, I don't even know what you're talking about, right? But let's say that I just want to paste something on the screen so that you all can see it, or sometime while I'm doing demos, I like to make sure that you all can see some of the things that I have in my that I have copied, so that you all are not confused. Is I will actually just put a shebang or a pound or whatever they're calling it now, a hashtag in front of it, and then I can just type anything and it won't interrupt our view here. So when you see me do something like this, don't get confused. I'm just making sure that we're all on the same page as what I'm doing, so that when I do a copy and paste, it just flows a little bit easier. Another command that I keep running, which I can't believe I keep running it and not mention it, is clear. So if you're ever working on a terminal and you have a lot of output, right, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to see this stuff, you just type clear, and it basically says, all right, we're going to reset the terminal so that it can start up at the top. If you want to know more about clear, the command is man clear. And there you go. You can get some more information about the clear command. All right. But we're going to go ahead and check out this repository, so that we can take a look at the contents of it. And then we'll have an opportunity for some more questions here. So let me go ahead and get this back up here. The command we're going to run is called git clone. And then I'm actually going to put in the URL here that we have above here. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it below. And you'll notice that the command itself was successfully executed. You'll notice that the steps that it took in to check it out. But I did say something. I said that you all noticed that the command executed. This is actually a really cool trivia question that I hope that you'll learn inside of this ebook course material that we have out there. Is there's a way that you can confirm that the previous command was successful, and it actually returns something called an exit status. Now, how do you do that? You have this command called echo, and you're actually going to echo something called $? And what this is basically saying is print to the screen the variable $? Which connects directly to every time the last command that ran. Now, if the command was successful, it should return 0, which we're going to hit enter, which means that the command was successful. But let's say that we executed a command that's not successful. So I added some extra jargon to the back of this here, and we know that it's not going to run. It's basically going to, it should error out. Let's see what the clone says. All right, so let's do exit status, check the exit status, and you'll notice that it's not 0. So that means that the previous command, something went wrong. And you just do an echo $? And it will give you a number. 0 means successful. Anything other than 0 means failure. So it's 0 is success, 1 and any other number means that it's a failure. These exit status codes usually imply certain type of failures, but the only thing that you want to worry about during our little demo here is that if you execute a command and you want to see if it was successful, always just check the exit status here, $? And you want to see if it's 0. If it's 0, that means everything is good. If you do a $? And it doesn't return it 0, then that means it failed. Also, I introduced a new command called echo. So let's go and check that man page real quick before we go into our repository. And to check that command, you basically type in man echo. And you'll see that it basically prints out to standard output. It's basically Bash's way of doing print. Echo is probably one of the most powerful commands. Print is really one of the most powerful commands, whatever programming language or a terminal you're using. And definitely want you to get familiarized with the command echo. So to access the manual page, just type in man echo. All right, but let's go check out the repository that we just checked out. So if I do ls in this directory, I should see the learn_command line directory. And if I actually do an lstr, which is going to give me a more longer view of this directory, you'll see some more parameters that pop up. And the thing that I'm looking for mostly is this D, which means it's a directory, and that I have read and execute access. You'll see who's the owner. You also see the size of this index location, and then the directory itself, and then when it was actually created here. Now, if you want to check what time it is on a computer or on a terminal, there is a command called date. So if I click on date command or just type in date, it should actually print out what the date and time is. And you'll notice that it's Thursday, May 16th, 1831, and this directory was created on 1828, which is basically a few minutes ago. But we're going to dive deeper into the actual repository here. So I'll CD in there, and I'll do an ls in here. And what I'm hoping to see is all those same directories that I've seen inside of GitHub. And actually, I'm going to do an ls-ltr so we can get the longer view. And then I'm going to bring the screen over so you can see how that relates. So you'll see here goes the introduction folder or directory. And if I bring this back over from GitHub, you'll notice that the very first folder or directory is the same one. And then the very last one is readme.md file. And let's take a look over here and we should see readme.md file. Now, if we want to see what the contents of this readme.md file, there's a few ways of doing it. There's a cat command, there's a less command, or what I'm going to use is called head command. And basically, head is basically saying, hey, go and read the first few lines of that file and just print it to screen, because this file is obviously a little bit longer than what this head command is. But you'll notice that the output itself aligns directly with what we have on our website here on GitHub, which is learn command line. Welcome to the command line course, so on and so forth. But we're only grabbing a portion of it because we're using the head command. If I use the cat command, let's just go ahead and use the cat command so you all can see what I'm talking about. Let me clear my screen so you can see it. And I'll just type in the command cat and then the README file, and you'll see that it actually returns even more output. I got to scroll back up to actually see it, right? So those are two cool commands to get familiarized with. And if you need more information about it, I hope you've learned in our session, type in man and then the command, so then you can get some more information about it. But all of those details are covered in this ebook course online resource here. And definitely want to encourage you all to check it out. And we'll just do another ls in this directory so you can take a look. All right. And yeah, that's all that I wanted to spend some time talking about today, more specifically around getting you all familiarized with the command line. Obviously, the really cool tool you want to be familiarized with is Git. Also showed you about the hashtag, what that means. Also showed you about the really cool man command, which I definitely want to encourage you all to get familiarized with. And then definitely maneuvering the file system is something that you will learn from this repository. So if you do find any bugs, let us know. I may have planted some bugs in there purposely to see, when people actually start to read and review this content. And yeah, if you get to the automation and bash and shell scripting, let me know, because that's where I am most proficient. And then I'm actually mentioning the word bash so frequently and not really talk much about it. I may have mentioned it before, but bash is the terminal. It's called Born Again Shell, and it's by far one of the coolest interfaces that we're looking at right now, which is this command line here, which is basically this prompt, this black screen, these wordings here for the prompt. This is what bash is, and I want to encourage you to get familiarized with it. Because once you have this skill, you'll be able to work just about in any environment and definitely be proficient in your skills as engineers. All right. All right. I think that's about it for our community meeting for today. I do want to open it up for any other questions. Again, if anybody has any questions reviewing the content that we just went over, or if you just want to say something, feel free to turn on your mic. Or we're going to wrap it up and catch you on YouTube. I'll definitely be looking forward for some questions on YouTube, but let me know if there are any questions out there in the audience. All right, no worries at all. Remember, we're here to support you. Definitely want to encourage you all to get involved. Take a screenshot of this, take a picture of it, send it to your friends, send it to your community. We are looking for more people that are interested in tech, especially if you're underrepresented, where we will be empowering and leveling you up with skills like the one we talked about today, being the command line. And don't forget to check out our website called thetechhustle.com, where you can find all our resources from community, our premium services, our education, coaching, technical career coaching. Don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter, because we're always publishing. And if I scroll down a little bit more, you'll kind of catch our podcast here too. So we have our podcasts on all platforms. So there shouldn't be a reason why you couldn't find us. And definitely check us out on YouTube, subscribe, like some of our content. and definitely let us know if there's any way that we can support you even more. That's all that I have for this evening. And yeah, thank you all so much for showing up. And if you're catching us on YouTube, thank you so much for the support. Please feel free to leave us a comment. Let us know how well we're doing. Or if you have any recommendations on how we could do things better, or if you're missing anything, we're always looking forward to feedback. So thank you all again. It's your boy Bobby D, and D Hustle's holding it down. Yeah, any last words, D Hustle?
If you go back to the other page on the Tech Hustle,
Got you.
that guy on the right hand side, the bullheaded guy, who is that guy? That's a good looking guy right there, man.
This guy right here, the one I'm circling.
Yes.
That's the man right there. So
Oh man, I'm in the right place, man. I'm in the
Yeah.
right place.
I feel you, player. Always
All right.
enjoy your energy. And thank you so much, D.
No problem.
All right, everybody. Again, thank you all so much for pulling up. We do really look forward to interacting with you all, engaging. Remember, the Tech Hustle is here to support you. Don't feel like this journey you're all alone, because I know this stuff can be really overwhelming. These technical skills can definitely be something that hinders you from achieving your goals in life. Just know that we're here to support you. And yeah, thank you so much for pulling up, and we'll see you next week, Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Holla.